everyone. Minutes to let everybody else get logged in, and then we'll get started. And while one else to get here, we'll go ahead and throw up translations. And these you think are accurate. We'll give it a go ahead and get started. Get started here. So, and welcome to the Fulcrum Group's monthly webinar series, 8 Steps for Creating a Disaster Recovery Solution and Plan. Vice President, Sales and Marketing. Key steps you can take to create a disaster recovery solution and plan is being recorded, and everyone is muted, but you get questions via chat, and we'll questions at the end of the webinar. Without having to get started. Cover the following topics. Designing an overview. And build together. Impact analysis. Create a strategy based on your business impact analysis. Disaster recovery strategy is more than backups. Our plan and documentation. Have a now what? And your disaster recovery plan regularly. And finally, your disaster recovery plan annually. We'll have a time for questions and answers. Started. When it comes to recovery planning, the most important thing that you can do is to get executive buy-in. It isn't fully behind the implementation of your disaster recovery planning process. It's to fail or stall. There are a lot of different kinds of this that you have to plan for. Simple. Like restoring Joe when he accidentally overwrites his critical spreadsheet. Avoidable by building redundancy and high availability, such as fails, and it is a redundant array. Crashes, discreet, and other sabotage. Ransomware and other malware to worry about. And true disasters such as fires, tornadoes, and floods. Fortunately, we worry much about hurricanes here in North Texas. Finally, remember that planning for disaster recovery is great to reduce your risk along the way and off big. building an office building, putting our suppression systems, and not putting your computer room directly under water pipes are ways that you can reduce risk. Building availability into your IT environment is another way that you can reduce risk. Give some more detail later in the webinar. So as a recovery and business continuity go together. Some people may not be aware of this, but business continuity plan is a more comprehensive, inclusive plan for your business. It's an overall plan to your business or organization can continue to operate in the event of a disaster. So not include IT, but it's all of the facilities. It includes your production lines. It includes your service delivery, out your business to plan for in the event of a disaster. And of course, disaster recovery planning is a subset of business continuity planning, and it's what you need to do immediately after a disaster to recover your IT systems, get back up and running. That in more detail as well. So one of the things we recommend that you do when building a disaster recovery plan is perform a business impact analysis. Screen to the on the right of the screen that there's a simple grid, a simple way of what a business impact analysis would look like, but an actual impact analysis will be much more detailed and thorough. But basically, the process to it is to identify each of your discrete IT systems. That's your account, your email system, your databases, your quoting systems, systems that you have that are specific and hold a specific role in your organization. And then once you for lack of a better term, that shows the financial and other impact of various periods of downtime. So if you know is going to be the most costly for you, that's probably the system that you're going to prioritize in your delivery plan, and you're probably going to build in more redundancy to try to avoid in those systems. And of course, comprehensive business impact analysis can be conducted. Typically, we would recommend a third party to moderate that, as it's a fairly intensive process and involve multiple parties within your organization. And an independent third party can really be helpful to help that press along. Completed your business impact analysis, you're going to get your disaster recovery strategy based on those results. So business impact analysis to determine what we refer to as RTO and RPO for each of your discrete IT systems. Reminder, time objective is the amount of time it takes to recover IT system after a failure. So time as the failure occurs, and if you're up in 4 hours after that, then recovery time objective. And then we to the recovery time objective, and that's the recovery point objective. Point objective is refers to the amount of data or the amount of time last backup. Backup occurred at midnight, and your occurs at 4 p.m. the next business day. Then you're all the data from 10 p.m. midnight until 4 p.m. next day, whatever that the outage is. And so that you really want to make sure that you know and need that information to build your disaster recovery strategy and solution and plan. And things that I like to talk about when I'm talking to clients about disaster recovery is strategy that should include ways to avoid disasters. Working with clients now to build out virtualization environments where we have multiple servers and storage, and that builds high availability. Any servers could go down, and all systems could continue to operate without any outages. The need for highly available systems, we highly recommend virtualization as a solution to give you that high availability. And so moving to cloud applications, the requirement for redundant internet is higher than ever. You have to build in your critical cloud applications into your disaster recovery plan. There are options where you could potentially send employees home to work on cloud applications. Typically recommend that you have redundant internet connections. So one internet connection is down, you can still continue to operate. Having connections can also be helpful in our backup strategy, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit as well. A cloud storage solution that protects against true disasters. When you get your cloud storage, make sure you include in your requirements whether you need to be able to recover in the cloud if there's a disaster. Some include this, some don't. Some charge extra for it. Know that information. You're picking a storage vendor. I'd look at to reduce risk and avoid avoid disasters, or things like replication. So you get critical files and you could rate them to multiple servers. In your server, look at redundant power, cooling. You look at generators, UPS battery backup systems, all of it as well. Firewalls. Firewalls are typically a piece of equipment that are very critical. And having a point of failure there could increase risk. So having redundant firewalls would allow you to reduce risk. Balancing to move traffic from one network to another or in one server to another can be helpful as well. Monitoring to you're having outage or having degraded performance can actually reduce. And of course, with the clients, we're now moving critical systems or the cloud. Since typically those data centers and cloud providers have all of the redundancy and capital investment on your part. So now you've created your plan, you've created your strategy, you have considered all the redundancy and high availability scenarios. Now you work with your IT team to create a disaster recovery plan and the documentation around that. So redundancy and high availability, you can build automated on-site and cloud backup systems that meet the recovery time objective and recovery point objective for each IT system. You need to make sure you get all this in writing. So, I think what systems are being backed up, backups occur, recovery point objectives, recovery time objectives, what's your policy, and so on and so forth. And then steps for disaster recovery are activation and notification. What is a disaster? What's to happen? What it looks like? Whether you virtualize in the cloud or you're going to virtualize on a backup and disaster recovery appliance, whether you restore from backup, whatever the recovery process is, you want to make it documented. And then the Reconstitution process, and when things return to normal. Had a hardware failure and to send a new server or a motherboard or whatever, what do you get things back to the production systems after they've been restored back to normal? So, make it all in your plan and your documentation. So now you had your plan, you've looked at all of the seeing high availability to reduce your risk. Now what do you do? So three-step process. This is the budget. You cost to build out those redundant and highly available systems. And what is it cost to build the backup and disaster recovery solution? And or these things in. Maybe not a virtualization environment, but you don't have the budget to do it all in the first year. So maybe budget for one virtualized host server. Year two, you budget for a second host and a storage area network. A lot of used to phase things in. And then of course, redundant systems and highly available systems and virtualization and redundant firewalls and all those things. We typically recommend utilizing party for implementing those systems faster. Your IT department may struggle with doing implementations in addition to all their day-to-day operations. So now you've created a strategy, you've created a plan, you have budgeted and implemented your plan, all your systems, and you got to get into the testing phase. And so we got our business impact analysis to prioritize which systems you need to test first. And your most critical systems are going to be the ones to test first. You may also test them more often. We recommend that you test your backups at least quarterly. Consider, this is sometimes a difficult thing to do, but doing a full testing of your recovery on an annual basis. As to the fullest extent possible, cost or downtime isn't prohibitive. And of course, failures, and you want to note if you missed any recovery time objectives or recovery point objectives. Business impact analysis, recovery time objective, and recovery point objective, and make sure that those all match up with what happened in your test. And so now I want to make sure that we do an annual plan update. So make sure you have time on your calendar for doing this, and you think about, has anything changed? Systems, are there any servers? Has anything in your business that there's a change to the recovery time objective or recovery point objective? Maybe business, and now an outage costs you times as much as it did last year. When you did the recovery test, did that indicate any changes were needed? Was faulty? maybe that does not full, or maybe you had indicated for time objective and recovery point objective is sufficient for what you're doing. So sometimes those need to be adjusted. Are there any need to be made to your backup systems? Are there effective solutions out there? Some cost of the cloud backups can change. Options that can reduce your costs there. What about redundancy and high availability? With a phased approach to implementation there, is there the next fiscal year to do implementation of high availability and redundancy? We have completed the full slow presentation. Let's see if there's any questions here. I don't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions so far? To see if anybody's got a question. All right, go ahead and wrap it up. Thank everyone for attending. This recording available website, so you'll receive an update on it. We'll go ahead and wrap it up now. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you.